Okay, hi Algebra Part B. We are going to be learning how to subtract polynomials today. So you've already gotten the notes on the left side, and now we're going to take a look at how to subtract polynomials. I think we're going to take the same examples from the left-hand side, and we're going to take a look at what would that look like for us if we were to subtract them. Okay, so first of all, let's take that same polynomial from the adding side, which was 2x squared plus 4x. And let's subtract the polynomial 3x squared plus 5x. So when you take a look at these two polynomials, polynomial 1 has some terms, but we have to subtract the second polynomial. Okay, so are we supposed to subtract the first term or the second term? Or actually, are we supposed to subtract both of the terms? Okay, so what I'm going to do is distribute the minus sign. I'm going to say we're going to subtract u and we're going to subtract u. So the first polynomial just gets written down as is. Okay, and we're not going to write the parentheses anymore. Now we're going to say subtract 3x squared. Okay, but we also have to make sure we subtract the second term. So subtract 5x. So when you see a minus sign, we are going to distribute the negative. And that's what needs to happen with subtraction. We don't distribute to the first polynomial, just all the terms in the second polynomial. Okay, now just like with adding, we're going to combine like terms. So I'm going to look for the highest power, which is x squared, and I see another x squared, and we're going to combine those. Okay, you can underline, you could circle, you could color code. So 2x squared minus 3x squared. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1x squared. Okay, so now it's just like adding like terms. The only difference is we had to do that initial step of distributing the negative. Now I'm going to look for my second like terms. After the squared powers come the first powers. So I see a plus 4x and a minus 5x. I'm going to go ahead and combine those. 4 minus 5 is negative 1x. And I've taken care of all the terms, and so this is the final answer. Okay, so subtracting polynomials is just like adding like terms, but we have to make sure, let's just highlight this here, we distribute the negative. All right, let's take a look at that second example that we had. Okay, I think we had a trinomial plus a trinomial. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 9x cubed plus 5x squared minus 17, which was the first polynomial that we did on the adding side. But now we're going to subtract the second polynomial. I can tell the entire polynomial has to get subtracted because of these parentheses. 3x cubed minus 6x squared plus 8x. Okay, so when you see subtraction, okay, remember what we have to do. We have to distribute the negative. I'm going to have to subtract this term. I'm going to have to subtract the second term. That's interesting. Subtract to subtract. And then we're going to have to subtract the third term. So let's go ahead and write all of the terms that we have after we distribute this minus sign. Okay, the first polynomial just gets written as is. Okay, but we're not going to write those parentheses anymore. I'm just going to write all of his terms. Now for the second polynomial, let's make sure that we say minus 3x cubed. Minus a minus, we're going to say plus 6x squared. Okay? And then I have to subtract 8x. So they're all minus signs, except if he has a minus sign, a minus minus becomes a positive. Okay, and now we're going to collect like terms. After you distribute, there should be no more parentheses. So let's look for the highest power. Here's some x cubes, and here's some x cubes. So let's go and put those together. 9 minus 3 makes 6x cubed. All right. After the cubics come the quadratics. Let's take a look and see if we have any x squareds. 5, positive 5x squared, and positive 6x squared. Those two can go together to make positive 11x squared. Okay. After the quadratics come the linears. Do we have any x's? Oh, we just have this one term right here. There's nobody to combine with him. So I'm just going to write minus 8x all by himself. And then we're going to finish this up with the constants. Since I underlined, I can see that I took care of all the terms except for this minus 17. And I know that the constant would go last. And so what I ended up with here is 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. And his highest power was a cubic. We call this a cubic polynomial because there are 4 terms. Okay, so just to recap, okay, the notes down here, some of this you should have filled out already. If you are adding the polynomials, you just ignore the parentheses. No big deal, okay? But today we learned that if you are subtracting, okay, if you are subtracting the polynomials, you must distribute. You must distribute the negative first. Distribute the negative, okay? Change all the signs, and then you just add like normal, okay? And make sure your answer is always written in standard form, and that means that the powers go from high to low. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the next page here. We're going to take a look at the problem up at the top. Okay, this first example up here is a subtraction problem. So I want to do this one with you. This one would be the difference of polynomials. Remember we said the first thing would be to distribute the negative. Okay, and once you do that, you don't write the parentheses anymore. We just write all the individual terms. 4n squared plus 5 minus a minus, that becomes plus 2n squared. Negative times positive is minus 3n. Minus times minus is positive 4. Okay, so I've distributed the negative. And now we're going to look for like terms. And I'm going to start with the highest power. So n squared, you're up. 4 plus 2 more make 6 n squareds. You don't change the power, we're just combining them. N squareds and n squareds make one pile of n squareds. After n to the power of 2 comes n to the power of 1, the linear terms. I think he's the only one, so minus 3n. Okay. And then after the linears come the constants. We have plus 5, plus 4 for a total of 9. Okay, and there's your answer. Let's just go ahead and classify this for review. The highest power is 2, so you call him a quadratic. And when you have 3 terms, you're called a trinomial. I really hope subtracting polynomials makes sense. Okay, let's just recap. Step 1 is distribute the negative. Step 2, you ignore the parentheses, or you don't write them. And then the final step is combine like terms. I really hope this video made sense, and I would like to see you try these next 2 problems right here. Your assignment is to complete numbers 4 and 6, showing us that you can subtract polynomials. Thanks and good luck.